Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Transfer News Latest. Now we have a lot of news to get into today, including a Garnacho update, some other stuff, and a whole lot more. So let's get into it. Before I get started, I would like to remind you guys to please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. Also, comment down below on your thoughts on the current transfer news. Now, we start with what I have already mentioned in a YouTube short already. If you haven't seen it already, go and watch. Well, to summarise, Lucas Chevalier to PSG is locked and loaded. He is going to be PSG's new number one goalkeeper, which means Donnarumma now has to look for another club. In addition, Benjamin Sesko is going to Manchester United. In a deal sealed like a minute after I uploaded yesterday's video, United agreed a deal with Leipzig to sign Sesko for £66 million, which is actually less than what Newcastle were prepared to pay. He has now flown out to to Manchester to complete his medical and sign his contract to be presented on Saturday. This means United should have a striker for their first game of the season against Arsenal now, and this could mean a return to the top six for them. But once again, Newcastle have missed out on a new signing, continuing their horrid transfer window. So now they're looking at Nicolas Jackson. This is something I have mentioned previously, but what has come out today is that Chelsea and Jackson feel it's time to part ways. Yes, that is right, you do hear me correctly, because Chelsea have signed Delap and João Pedro. Nicolas Jackson wants to leave Chelsea to go elsewhere to feel important. According to Fabrizio Romano, clubs from Italy and Germany have called, but the most likely option is to stay in the Premier League right now. There is strong interest from Newcastle. He is one of their options now they've missed out on Sesko. There is also interest from Tottenham if Richarlison goes, though I'm sure Thomas Frank would love Nicolas moonwalking offside every game. In addition to Michael Jackson, Christopher Nkunku is also not expected to play in upcoming games as he also wants to leave. And talks are ongoing with several clubs keen. So I am just waiting for concrete bids for these two so we can get them out and sign Xavi Simons and Garnacho. Actually, which reminds me, in news from yesterday, Alejandro Garnacho has agreed personal terms with Chelsea. As was revealed by Fabrizio Romano, the player has agreed to every detail of the personal terms with Chelsea, which was relatively straightforward as he has only wanted us since July. Now, Chelsea need to agree a fee with Manchester United. Once that deal was agreed, Chelsea would pursue the Simons deal with Leipzig, who are waiting to agree a deal for him now the Sesko deal's done. I said deal way too many times there. Meanwhile, on the other side of London, and West Ham United have agreed a deal. Okay, I'm getting sick of this word. Anyway, Mads Manson is going to West Ham for £16 million. That's what I'm trying to say. Apparently, he was only signed by West Ham because the deal with Botafogo goalkeeper John Victor collapsed at the final stages. I'm pretty sure he's Brazilian, but that's like one of the most English names I've ever heard. John Victor. Anyway, this is definitely a good signing by West Ham, if you ask me. He has Premier League experience, and he will be able to compete with Areola for starts. I just hope Chelsea don't get a penalty against West Ham this coming season.
Cole Palmer out of his stride. Palmer against Nassr here. Upstairs Cole Palmer, and he's kept out by Hermansen.
Staying in the Premier League, and Nottingham Forest have begun talks with RB Salzburg for their captain Mads Bidstrup. Bidstrup is open to the move, but Salzburg have made it clear that he is considered as one of their key players and they are not willing to let him go for less than his value. In addition, Sunderland have signed another player. This time it's left back Arthur Masuaku from Besiktas. In an exclusive story from Fabrizio Romano, the player completed his medical today and signed a 2-year contract. I am now convinced that Sunderland should finish somewhere in the top 10, because they've spent over £140 million on transfers, and with that kind of money, you don't get sent straight back down. If that does happen, something is wrong with the Premier League. And I think that £140 million was used to basically buy a whole other starting 11, I'm certain. But that's not all the news coming out of the Premier League, as PSG have reached an agreement in principle with Bournemouth for Illia Zabarnyi. The deal is locked and loaded. PSG are set to pay €67 million for the Ukrainian, who will agree to a 5-year deal and will travel to Paris for his medical ahead of the UEFA Super Cup. In addition, and according to David Ornstein, and Newcastle are reportedly interested in Samu or Morata. Nothing has happened yet, as this is all that's really been reported by David Ornstein. I remember from last season actually that Samu was supposed to join Chelsea as part of a swap deal with Atletico Madrid for Conor Gallagher. However, the deal collapsed with João Felix going to Chelsea as part of that deal, and Samu went to Porto instead. Yeah. I am pretty sure Samu was actually supposed to replace Nicolas Jackson if he'd come to Chelsea. And he did get 19 goals and 3 assists in the 30 games he played for Porto in the last season. So he definitely would be an interesting option for Newcastle. We all just have to wait and see what develops. Now onto the more recent transfer news, and Al Nassr opened talks to sign Kingsley Coman. In an exclusive story from Florian Plettenberg, Al Nassr had begun negotiations with Bayern Munich to sign Kingsley Coman. And they have already made an offer for the French winger. 20 to 25 million euros per year with a contract to last until 2028. Damn, could I play in Saudi? However, Coman has not yet made a decision. Bayern are informed, but it is understood that no official offer has been made to the club at this stage. But that's not all Nassr have been up to in the transfer window, as they have also agreed a deal to sign Inigo Martinez from Barcelona. As reported by Fabrizio Romano, Inigo will terminate his contract at Barcelona with immediate effect and join Al Nassr as a free agent. The defender will sign a 1-year contract with the option to extend his contract an extra year. He will travel to Saudi to undertake his medical tests and sign his contract this week. As for Lucas Hradecky, there is an update. I mentioned last week that Fabrizio Romano said the deal is almost done. Now the deal is done and is locked and loaded. The goalkeeper will sign for Monaco for €3 million on a 2-year contract. That's really all I have to say there. And now to finish this video, we will talk about the Serie A. As Atletico Madrid have reached an agreement with Giacomo Raspadori over personal terms and have sent an official bid to Napoli. Atleti's proposal is now being discussed between the two clubs, and it is now up to Napoli. Napoli have also signed Miguel Gutierrez from Girona. The deal is locked and loaded. Here we go. Girona are to receive a fee of €20 million, which includes add-ons for the Spanish left-back who wanted the move to Napoli. In addition, Ziolkowski is expected to become a new Roma player very soon, as he has already agreed to personal terms with Roma, and both Roma and Legia Warsaw have held positive talks overnight for him. And my final story for you tonight is the deal for Alvaro Morata to Como, which is locked and loaded. Here we go. This was a deal I mentioned a while ago now, actually, when Victor Osimhen signed for Galatasaray on a permanent deal. And now it's finally been agreed between Como and Galatasaray for the captain of the Spanish national team. Morata will sign for a fee of €5 million to break Galatasaray's previous deal with Milan to sign Morata on a loan with an obligation to buy. He will travel there for his medical soon. Well, that's all the transfer news I have for you today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to get your comments in on your thoughts on the current transfer news. Thank you, and goodbye.